It's that time of year once again, spring cleaning. And no, I don't mean whatever you call that. What I mean by spring cleaning is that. Around this time every single year, my hard drives completely fill up and I have zero space for new projects or anything else, and I gotta go spend money to get more data storage. Now the problem with that, I don't have tons of money to spend on like a 48 terabyte RAID array or something. So I needed to figure out how to save some money while also have adequate backup. So in this video, what I'm gonna do is show you a setup that works for me that I found fit my price range of maybe a couple $100. And also I'd like to go through my file structure and show you how, as a photographer and a filmmaker, videographer, how I like to structure my files and everything. So onwards, let's go over my plan for this year's data storage backup. So a few years ago, the great George Massenburg, if you haven't heard about him, you should look him up. Famous audio engineer, recorded like Earth, Wind and Fire and shit like that. He was my teacher a few years ago when I was going to school for sound. He once told me, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't exactly remember what he said, but if you have one copy of a file, you don't own it. If you have two copies, you're borrowing it. And if you have three copies, you own it. I want to know what he said. I'm going to text him and ask him right now. George. Let's see if he texts back before I finish shooting. Okay, so backup on a budget. I love that, it rings nicely. A backup on a budget. Look at all this stuff I got here. This is from about 7 to 10 years of work so far. I have these two Western Digital 2 terabyte hard drives. I remember my final backup, I always configure a RAID drive. So even though it says I have 4 terabytes total, I really only have 2 terabytes of data. Next, let's put these, I can't work at these conditions here. After this filled up, 2 more. This time, 2 hard drives of 3 terabytes. I just filled these ones up last week. So what did I do? I went and bought 2 more 4 terabyte hard drives this time. So these are lighter than the other ones. That's weird. I'm going up by 1 terabyte every single time. So now I have 4 terabytes of backup. So that's already, look at all this. 6 hard drives so far. Okay, next. Originally, I started with this old WD drive that I was using. I don't use this anymore. I'm just showing you all the drives that I've had because that's typically what people seem to do in these types of videos, is show you all their hard drives. We have this Lassie, how do you pronounce this? Someone tell me in the comments. Anyway, Lassie Rugged, this is a great drive. I've been using this Seagate portable 2 terabyte hard drive. I've been using this for a while. And recently I bought, where is it? That's not really good. This Samsung 500 gigabyte portable SSD. This is all I got. For these drives, I use this Inatech dual bay hard drive thingy. I bought it like 5 years ago on eBay maybe. But I'm gonna find one on Amazon for you guys and I'll link that in the description so you can go pick one up. These are relatively cheap. Okay, so now we got all of this stuff. Oh my, what a mess. It's okay, sorry. I just got frustrated at myself. How do I use all of these drives? So on these portable hard drives, I keep my videography and photography worlds separate. And in the end, they all come together on these RAID drives. So here's how I go about backing everything up. Here we go. Let me do a little visual explanation here. So we need to keep 3 things backed up: my photos, my videos, and my computer. And we need to back these up on 3 levels. Let's list all the drives that I have. First, for photo, we have my Lassie Rugged. This is a 2 terabyte drive, and I use it until it's full. My next drive is my Samsung 500 gigabyte SSD. Now this is a working drive, and I remove projects when they're done. And then finally I have my computer. Oops. Okay, next, in level 2 we only have 1 drive to put, and it's this red video drive. This one's 2 terabytes. Oh, by the way, I need to backtrack just for a second. So here's where the video projects stay. And then I buy a new drive when it's full. So now we have our hard drive bay, which now contains two 4 terabyte hard drives. And these two hard drives are used in a RAID 1 configuration. And what that means is when I plug this into my computer, only one hard drive shows up, but when I copy files, it copies the files exactly to both hard drives, right? So I end up having 2 copies of the file. If one hard drive breaks down due to hardware failure or something, then I still have all the data on a second hard drive. That was a bad apple. Next, I also have this Apple time capsule. Now this is a Wi-Fi router that Apple makes, and it has a built-in 2 or maybe 3 terabyte hard drive that my computer continuously backs up to. And then finally, we have one more thing that we need to consider, and that would be the cloud. Sorry, this is a terrible cloud. But for that I use Google Drive. By the way, on my computer, I have my Lightroom catalog that needs to be consistently backed up. Okay, so this is everything that I have, and we need to make this all work together so that I have 3 copies of files that I consistently keep backed up. So I'm gonna use this green marker to numerate the amount of copies I have. So let's start on the photo side. I have the first copy of my photos on this drive, and because I use this drive until it's full, there's always a copy of all my photos that I never remove. And what happens in Lightroom, and I'll show you this later on my computer, when I import photos from an SD card, I can have them copied to this drive, and also I can have them copied directly to the RAID drive at the same time. And now we have 2 more copies, 2 and 3 of my photos. So that makes 3 copies of each photo. Now the problem is if my hard drives are in the same location, say like my home, then if something happens, God forbid, knock on wood, like a fire or something, then everything goes to crap. So this is not a fail-safe backup yet, but I am planning on getting a studio very soon. So I'm gonna keep this RAID array in my studio and always carry my photography hard drive everywhere I go. Now the thing about photos is I always want my pictures on me so that I can access pictures from a month, 2 months, a year ago if I need to. So that's why I always have this drive and I use it as my working drive. Now I can say the opposite for video because, you know, once a video project is done, I don't really need to access the video files all the time. Now that's why I have this system with 2 drives for my video projects. First I have this working drive, and I use this drive because it's fast, it's an SSD, so we can read and write video very quickly. So that's why I work off of this drive. But the thing is, I don't consider this a backup because, as I said earlier, I remove my video projects when I'm done from this drive. So every day that I finish working on a project, I copy to this video drive. Now this video drive is my first copy of my files. Now while I'm working on a video project, I have 2 copies of the project going at the same time. That means I don't have to always be backing up to this RAID drive. So maybe once or twice a week, I copy my projects over to the RAID drive. And that then creates a second and third copy of my video projects, or even a 4th if I still have my projects on this drive. So once a week I do this. Let's write that this happens on import. And this, if we're gonna label these daily. Okay, so now we have 3 versions, if not 4, of my video projects. Now when this drive fills up, I buy a new drive. Okay, finally we have my computer, which contains my Lightroom catalog and practically all of my files. So this needs to be backed up all the time. Now my computer is locally backing up over Wi-Fi hourly to my time capsule, and that includes my apps, my Lightroom catalog, all my files, and my settings. But the thing is, this isn't super secure because, like I said, God forbid there's a fire in my house, both my computer and my time capsule are in the house, I lose all that data. So for some very important things, I keep on Google Drive here. Now also, when Lightroom exits on a weekly basis, I have it back up to a folder that automatically syncs to Google Drive. So that's pretty much everything when it comes to backing up all of my files. Okay, let's go over to my computer now and look at how I structure all of my files and do all this backing up stuff. So before we go any further, guys, I just want to thank you for watching this far into the video. And if any of the information I've given you has helped or you found useful so far, I would love to have you subscribe. By the way, George Massenberg texted me back and I was pretty close. He said, 3 places you own it, 2 places you're borrowing it, and 1 place giving it away. That's it. I forgot to mention that this is the only drive I take with me when I'm traveling. It's super light, it doesn't take up a lot of space. I can put all my pictures and videos and stuff on it. 500 gigabytes is usually enough. And when I get back, I copy all of the photos and the videos that I've taken to the respective drives. So I just want to blast through all of this information because I've already spent a lot of time talking and I don't want to drag this video on too long. So let's start with all of the photography stuff first. You need to be using Lightroom Classic because the regular version of Lightroom CC, it's all like based on syncing with the Adobe Creative Cloud, and it doesn't really give you much flexibility when you're trying to copy files between hard drives. Now when I'm importing pictures in Lightroom, let's open the import tab here. There are two things you have to make sure that you're doing. First, down here in the bottom right, you need to make sure you have the right folder selected that you want to import photos into. And then the second thing we want to make sure we do is click this checkbox here, make a second copy too, and then we're going to select the folder we want to back up the original raw files to. Let's set that right now to my new RAID drive here in 2020, in photo, and I'm going to choose that folder. So now, what's going to happen when I import photos, it's going to copy to the RAID and to my photography hard drive. Now what you could do also is down here on the bottom is save a preset. That way if you end up changing these settings for whatever reason, I know that I'm importing and backing up at the same time when I select this preset. So for videos, the difference is we're going to be doing all of this folder structuring and file copying within Finder. And that means that this folder structuring will work for any video program. I'm talking especially Premiere and Final Cut Pro. So as you can see here on the left panel, we have my 3 hard drives that we're using for video. So when I'm starting a project, I'm always starting everything on the ongoing projects drive. In the video folder, I'm going to create a new folder for every single video project that I'm working on. Let's make one for this example here, March 16th, and then I put an underscore with the name of the project. Within that folder, I'm going to create more folders. So one is going to be video, and if you have multiple cameras, you can also separate that by the different cameras that you have. And then after that, in this folder, I'm going to make another one called exports. That's where all the exports are going to stay. Then I'm going to make another folder called audio, and that's it. When I create a new project in Premiere or in Final Cut Pro, I'm going to save the project file in this folder. I don't have to make a folder for that. Now, I'm not going to go into any specific video editing programs because what I'm telling you here can apply to every single program. But just remember, if you're using Final Cut Pro and you're importing video, make sure that you select the option to leave files in place and not copy to the library. And now the last thing we'll talk about is backing up your video projects. This is relatively straightforward. So all I'm going to do is shrink this here so I can put it on the left side and open a new Finder window and go to my video drive here. Okay, we're in my video drive. I'm going to go into my video folder here, open up 2020. And as you can see, I have a bunch of projects already backed up. Now, one suggestion, if you're doing tons of projects per month, you might as well make one folder for each month. And all we're gonna do is copy the test project folder to the video project folder. And then next thing, I'm just gonna bring this over here, open my RAID drive here, go into 2020, go into my videos folder, and exact same thing, I'm just gonna click and drag, copy my files over to that drive. So now I have 3 copies of it. When I'm done with the video project on this ongoing projects hard drive, I'm gonna come in and just delete it. And then I still have my projects on my backup drives. All right guys, so that's everything. I hope this video was useful for you. And if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to help you out. Other than that, hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. And follow me on Instagram at HeyKeeg. And I will see you, I will catch you on the flip side. It's that time of year again. Yeah, it's that time of year again. It's that time of year once again. It's that time of year once again. It's not spring clean.